Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all can join us once again, both for our radio audience and those tuning in online. We're glad you all could be with us as well. We're excited to welcome recording artist Dallas Walker to our program today to talk to him not only about his musical journey, but what it's been like for him to share that with all of you. Dallas, even though we've been kind of dealing with the pandemic this year, he's been active sharing his music with you guys online. We'll talk to him about how he's been using social media, but he's also gearing up for the release of his new single, Outlawing Us All, in September. So we want to make sure you guys are following him to stay connected with all the updates for that. Dallas, thank you so much for the time, man. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, Cyrus. Appreciate you having me.
Oh, glad to do it. So I'll kind of begin with where we are. You're gearing up for the release of this new single, Outlawing Us All. As I mentioned, though, you have been impacted like a lot of artists have been, as we all have kind of been, and kind of our year kind of changing. What has it been like for you, though, Dallas, to be able to continue to share your music with your fans, at least online?
Well, it's certainly been a reset, but fortunately for me, that's where a lot of my success in country music started, was online, social media, things like that. So it's really just been a double down, I guess.
Right,
spend more time doing it than I was when I was playing out on the road all the time.
Yeah, and we're going to have to talk about that because I know there's nothing like that live experience, but at least you're kind of able to have it in the sense with these live performances you're able to do online. Take us back then, Dallas, when it comes to music. I mean, have you always known that music was something that you wanted to do with your life?
Yeah, early on I grew up in a very musical family, and my mother was a piano player in the church that we attended, and my dad was a songwriter, so I was just around music all my life, so I started early on and in church and things like that, as many artists do.
So when did you get to a place in Dallas when you realized that you had something you wanted to say, that you had your own voice, that you wanted to be able to share?
You know, really, I just went through a lot of life changes. You know, a few years back, my mother passed away, and I went through a divorce and things like that, and just reached over and grabbed my guitar and started singing country music.
Wow.
So I guess it was just going through a hard time.
You know, I was just going to say, I mean, it was interesting when I was prepping for this. I mean, of course, almost a year ago, you were promoting the single One Thing Different. Now, as I mentioned, you're gearing up for the release of Outlawing Us All. What has that been like for you to kind of see how not only your career has gone from 2019 to this year, but also how, you know, the response to your music has grown as well?
Yeah, it's exciting. Every day, there's new people reaching out, new opportunities, especially worldwide. You know, it's really awesome, and I never really thought about other countries, people listening to my music, and you know, having music fans in other parts of the world. So it's really exciting, and every day is like a new present. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that's cool. I mean, I noticed even as I was prepping for this, Dallas, even on social media, and we're about to get into that, but I mean, just the comments you've gotten, and even like I said, I mean, you've been able to go live and be able to have that kind of an experience. You mentioned something interesting, though, because it's been kind of funny for me, especially over the past 5 months, is I've been having a lot more recording artists come on the program, and even some in the entertainment industry when it comes to acting, that kind of thing. They really, right, before COVID, you know, they kind of were kicking and screaming using social media, but now they realize it is kind of that outlet. You mentioned, though, that you had been using it early on. So you always knew then that the Internet was going to be that platform for you to be able to reach a larger audience in?
Oh, most certainly. Any form of mass communication is going to be a benefit to music artists. And, you know, honestly, Facebook Lives, when that little button popped up there and it said go live, you know, I hit it and I was overwhelmed at the amount of response that I received. And that translated into, you know, having a theater and selling tickets. And so it was pretty awesome, the power of social media for me.
And I think that's a great reminder for all of our audience out there, Dallas, because it definitely can be a great source for them to be able to connect. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome recording artist Dallas Walker to our program. We're talking to Dallas about the musical journey that he's been on, what it's been like for him to share his music with all of you, and then, of course, to be able to see the response. So I want to ask you this question from a creative standpoint, Dallas. Because, a lot of times when artists come out, people try to compare them, right, to other artists that are out there. What was it like for you to kind of develop your own sound and to be just you and not worry about trying to be like someone else?
That's an awesome question, because as an artist, that really becomes your greatest obstacle because we're all influenced by other artists. And to be able to separate yourself mentally and just do you is a big revelation as a singer. And to be comfortable with your own voice and your own style and not judge yourself out,
Well, that's powerful. Have you also found, though, that not only have you been able to draw fans to you, Dallas, but also other artists who are inspired by you? Have you found that to also be part of those who've kind of joined you on this journey since you've been in music?
Oh, absolutely. I've made so many friends that are artists, and as a traveling singer and things like that, I have a newfound respect for people that tour because there's so much work in it. Everybody dreams of being on the stage, but the stage is just a few minutes. Everything else happens in the days and the weeks and the months when you're not on the stage. And so I've met a lot of young guys coming up, young ladies, and I get to, write songs with them. And it's interesting because I remember, all the guys that were older than me and looking up to them. And, so I keep that in mind anytime I meet, new artists, young guys, whatever. I keep that in mind.
Yeah. What a great thing, and I know they appreciate that as well. So as I mentioned, you have the new single coming out September the 18th, Outlaw in Us All. What can you tell us about the new single, Dallas? I noticed you posted on Instagram you're excited about this one. What can you tell us about this song?
Well, I wrote this song, co-wrote it with a couple of guys, Casey Carpenter and Josh Ogle. They've been really successful in country music, had several cuts with Kane Brown, and just many other artist out there, but we just sat down and I wanted a song that kind of went back to my roots a little bit, and the words in the song is pretty much about me growing up, and I grew up in church, but there's an outlaw in us all.
Well, I think that is something a lot of us can relate to for sure. Last thing I want to talk to you about, because we are getting back to a place now, it seems like as the world is reopening itself, Dallas, where people are going to be able to get out. You posted a funny picture and caption on April the 9th on Instagram. If you guys are not following Dallas on Instagram, you guys can find him there at Dallas Walker Official. It's a photo of you singing on stage and playing your guitar, and the caption you wrote, Dallas, said, "Back when I used to sing in front of real people." Talk to us about the live performance. How does that feel? Now, you mentioned it's only a few moments, but what are those moments like for you to be able to be up on that stage, to be able to perform, and to be able to feel the energy and the response from the audience?
Yeah, I mean that's absolutely what every musician lives for. The purpose of singing and having a song and a message and all that is for it to be heard, and there's nothing better than live music. You can get the temperature of the room and the mood and all the things, So that, social media is wonderful, but it does not replace standing in a room with people having a good time and hollering and, dancing around.
Right.
You can't get that social distancing.
Right. This is very true. And you know what? I know, like I said, that people are excited about the opportunity to be able to see you again, but also I know you're excited about the opportunity to be able to be out there and to be able to share the music, including the new single that we've been talking about here, Outlaw in Us All. Again, everyone, Dallas Walker has been our guest for this segment. Thank you so much for the time, Dallas. We've been talking with him about his musical journey, but also what it's been like for him. So, Dallas, I mentioned Instagram, but how else can our audience stay connected with you, man?
Yeah, I've got a website, DallasWalkerMusic.com. and it has links to my social media, Facebook. Obviously, I have a music page on Facebook. So anybody come on there, give me their email, things like that. We can keep in touch with them. And we're just growing that more vigorously than ever.
Gotcha. Well, definitely we'll help them in staying connected. Dallas, continued success to you, and looking forward to our next conversation together, man.
Absolutely.
More than welcome.
I appreciate you.
Hell, you're more than welcome. Definitely want to thank our good friends at Core PR for setting up this chat with us for today. And thank all of you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let's make it a great one.